Tonight, we begin a week-long look at some of the prospective Republican presidential candidates expected to participate in our first debate of the campaign season on May 5th in Greenville, South Carolina. Leading off, a man who has hit the ground running. Brett Baer reports.
Senator, thank you.
Former Pennsylvania Senator Rick Santorum is now very familiar with Iowa, New Hampshire, and South Carolina. The social conservative from the Keystone State, who served 2 terms in the House and 2 in the Senate, looks like he's ready to jump into the race for the White House. You say you're testing the waters, so how do they feel?
Very warm. The reaction out there is one that I think people are looking for: a true conservative, someone who's authentic, someone they can trust, someone who's been there to stand up to the forces both within the Republican Party as well as those on the other side. And I think I have a pretty good track record of doing that, and I'm getting a lot of positive response as a result.
Earlier this month, Santorum won a straw poll in Greenville County, South Carolina. The county chairman calls it the most socially conservative part of South Carolina and, quote, probably the country. Santorum doesn't shy away from the social conservative title.
I think America is a moral enterprise. We cannot have limited government unless we have good and decent people living good and virtuous lives. If you don't have those people living those kinds of lives, then government gets bigger and more intrusive and more prescriptive. Economic issues, in part, are moral issues. You cannot have lower taxes unless you have a society that lives by some sort of moral consensus. And if we don't address those issues holistically, I think we're giving up the game. We can't just be about dollars and cents. The Republican Party can't be just about money. There's more to people's lives than money. Character and values and virtues and what kind of society our children are going to be living in. Those are the kinds of things that I think are important to talk about.
Political analysts like Larry Sabato say there's no denying if he gets in, Santorum might draw some early support.
He's going to appeal to the base in places like Iowa and maybe even South Carolina.
But Sabato says Santorum's biggest vulnerability may stem from his 2006 loss to Democrat Bob Casey, who ousted the 2-term incumbent Santorum.
He's got a tough case to make to Republicans about why he's electable. How can he say he's going to carry the swing state of Pennsylvania when he lost in a landslide in 2006?
So I asked him directly. What do you say to potential voters out there who look at you and say, I like this guy, but he ran for Senate in a re-election bid in 2006 and lost by 18 points? What's to make me believe that he can get the presidency in 2012?
Well, if they'd have said the same thing back in 1860, we wouldn't have Abraham Lincoln. The bottom line is that Americans understand that the road of anybody's road is paved with successes and failures, and that, in fact, makes you a better person. It hones you, it toughens you. Certainly my skin is as tough as anybody's right now as a result of what I went through in 2006.
I will walk away, and we will walk away from this job, but with nothing but thanks to all of the wonderful people of this state, to all of the wonderful people who stood by us.
If you look back at that election, I stuck to my core convictions. I didn't flinch. I talked about radical Islam and the threat of Iran when we were ensconced in an unpopular war in Iraq, and I'm out talking about the future threats that Iran poses to this country. I talked about the need to do entitlement reform when no one was interested in curbing the budget deficit, and I was talking about this baby boom generation retiring in 2011 and how we were going to have an explosion of debt and deficits as a result of that. Nobody wanted to hear that. So, yeah, in a bad election year, things didn't go very well. What people wanted was something different. But I don't think anyone's suggesting that 2012 is going to be anything like 2006. And the problems that I talked about, both abroad and here at home, have come home to roost and in a very big way. The presidential race is tough. You have 7 kids. You have a family. Where are they on this whole process? I'm blessed to have an amazing wife, Karen, who holds down the fort, and she's very supportive, as are the kids, in trying to follow God's call, and that's ultimately what it is. You have to make the judgment based on, as I walk this path, whether this is what I feel like I'm called to do. And if you feel like you're called to do it, then of course that's what you've got to do.